So today I'm going to be talking about a bridge of incidents. I'm going to be giving you a behind the scenes look at a bridge of incidents. A bridge of incidents is a law of attraction term, and it's basically like the sequence of events that leads up to you getting your manifestation, to right before your manifestation appears in your 3D reality. And so the thing about bridge of incidents is most of the time you're probably only going to see it after it's happened. So looking in hindsight, most of the time you can see the sequence of events that led up to your manifestation becoming a reality. Sometimes you can see hints leading up to it. Like, for instance, if you pay attention to numbers, like if you see numbers like 111 or 222, 333, things like that, those kinds of things can let you know that something's coming up, that you're aligning to your manifested reality, and that it's probably going to pop up soon in your reality. Or at least that you're in the flow. That's what I find. I mean, you can look up those numbers and find meanings for them for each set of numbers. Many sources on the web, but I kind of just like to think that they're reminders that I'm being guided and that you are being guided. When you see those numbers pop up, it's like your inner being, the angels, whatever you want to call it, God, universe, source, is letting you know, look, I'm here. I'm in the passenger seat and I'm helping you out here. So that's one way to recognize a bridge of incidents. But I'm going to tell you about a really major bridge of incidents because it is plural, that I had years ago. And I remember my job that I had for was about 17 years. I was a massage therapist, and I know I've mentioned that on this channel, but I've never talked about it, never mentioned how I actually, got from doing that to doing what I do now. But I was a massage therapist, and I honestly really liked that job. It was super flexible. I became a massage therapist so that I would have the flexibility to pursue acting, because that's what I really wanted to do. I recognized when I was in college, like toward the end of college, that I'm a creative person, which means that I should be doing a creative type of career. And but it took me really until, like, I think my last year in college to figure that out. And I remember I took a summer school at the end of college, and I took an acting class, and it was something at that time that it was completely foreign to me. And honestly, in terms of acting classes, it was a terrible acting class. I mean, I was going to UC Davis, so that's not an acting school, but it just let me get my feet wet to see what is this thing that I'm interested in doing. And what made me choose acting was because, which a lot of you might be wondering, like, how do you figure out what it is that you want to do in life? Like, if, how do you figure that out? How do you know what step to take? And where you start is with figuring out what your interests are. What are the things that you are super interested in, or that, that make you feel good, that make you excited when you do them? And at the time, I was this huge movie buff. I mean, I worked in video stores from when I was in high school all the way up until college, honestly. And then in college, I worked at the local movie theater. I was obsessed with movies, TV, all of that stuff, especially movies. And so I thought, my last year in college, I thought, maybe I want to be an actor. So I took that one summer class, and it wasn't great, but I had so much fun. And I was like, this is cool. This might be it. I think this is the thing that I want to do. So the next step was, after college, moving back home. And I went to this really prestigious acting school in San Francisco called ACT. But I didn't want to do like the full, like, I think they have like a master's program or something like that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't have the money for it. I mean, I had just graduated from college and spent, all this money. I was lucky. I didn't have as many loans as most people, but, I didn't want to go through that whole system again. So I decided to they had I think it was a summer program. And so I did the summer program and did some evening classes, and that was fantastic. Um, and I decided, this is what I want to pursue. So I got the headshots. And I started looking for auditions and everything. But my thinking at that time was I need a job that I can do where it's flexible enough for me to go out on auditions. That's important. And so at first I was waitressing, because that's what you do when you're an actor. You become a server in a restaurant. And but I didn't want to just be a server. At the time I had a boyfriend who was like, you should get a skill that you can take anywhere. So that is how I got into massage. And well, I was at work and I remember thinking to myself, what kind of skill could I do? And I thought, wow, I'm really good at giving massages. So, just little shoulder massages. And so that is what led me to go to massage school. And I thought, now that's something I could definitely take anywhere. And maybe I can make some decent money, better than waitressing. So I went to massage school, which wasn't very long. I think it took me like 6 months. And then I was ready. And it was very easy to get a job. And shortly after that, I ended up moving to LA to pursue acting, like for real. And so that's what I did. Moved to LA with my then boyfriend and pursued acting. And so I got a job doing massage, which was very easy to do in LA. It's tons of places to work, hotels and things like that. And funny enough, I mean, I got really good at doing massages, which wasn't really a surprise to me, because I'm a people pleaser, not kind of. Definitely, especially at that time, I was very much a people pleaser. So I was really vested in, when I give a massage, I want people to really feel good. I want it to make a difference, And so massage came pretty easy to me, and I developed my routine and became good at it and had a lot of clients. And eventually, over years, because I was in it for like 17 years, I built up celebrity clientele, rich people, poor people. I mean, I worked at different massage places, anywhere from high-end luxury hotels to just garden variety massage places that you could just, you can go anywhere and get a massage. And I mean, I have seen and worked on the full gambit of people, and it was fun. It was exciting to meet people from different walks of life, and it was fun to make a small difference, in people's lives in terms of their comfortability in their body. There's also a spiritual side to massage. When you're in that room one-on-one with a person, and you are touching their body and getting in tune with what's going on in there, sometimes you're getting in tune with their traumas, or physical or emotional. And sometimes, for some clients, they talk during the massage and you get to know them. So it was a really fascinating job, and I really enjoyed it. But after a time, I mean, honestly, I would say probably the 5-year mark, my body, I started to get tired, started to get fatigued, because it is hard work, especially when most of your clients are wanting deep tissue, work. You're literally practically breaking your back just to give them a decent massage, a good massage. And it's physical. It's a physical job. it was, and it's also energetic. So when you're in that room with a person, you're exposed to their energy, their vibrational energy, their aura. And while I was doing massage, I did learn, I had to learn uh, a few techniques to sort of block my energy from their energy so that, I could even get through massage, because there are people that are like energy vampires, where you get exposed to them. If you work on them for an hour, sometimes you're just done for the day. That's it. That's all you can do, because they suck all the energy out of you. It's really nuts. And you know, those were hard times, because often you get a client like that, and then you still have another 6 hours to work, or 4 hours of work or whatever. And so you had to pull reserves from somewhere. And it's the type of job where you make money according to how many people you put hands on, and obviously the tips that they give you, because a lot of people don't realize that. And this is a good note for yourself. When you go to these massage places, the therapist really is only getting a fraction of what you pay. So I would say the cheaper the massage, like if the massage is like $20, $30 or 40, I don't know what it is now, but like $30, $40, the massage therapist is probably getting half of that. But when you go to like these hotels where the massage is expensive and luxurious, the therapist is really only making like, I don't know, maybe anywhere from 30 to $50 that massage. Most of the time it's around the $35 mark. And imagine they're doing all the work. I mean, the spa, they provide the luxurious, or the environment and the saunas and things like that. But you're the one doing the work as the massage therapist. And it's not just massage, it's like other technical things like scrubs and wraps. So it's a big thing. So basically off of your back, they're making all the money. And granted, the facilities probably cost much, but honestly, when you think about it, a spa goes into, say, a hotel, even a luxurious hotel. The hotel is footing the cost for everything in the spa facility. So the spa they're just kind of coming in the facility and using the facility to do their services, which is a benefit to their hotel, because a lot of people pick a hotel based on the amenities, and it's only as good as the amenities, right? Which includes the service that you do as a therapist or, say, an esthetician. So anyways, I say all that to say it was hard work. And often I became the lead technician, and I was leading the team because I'm just a stickler for procedure. And which meant more work for me, more responsibility, but still being hands-on. And also not just working on clients, but also training other therapists to do different like modalities and things like that. So it was a lot of hard work. We'll just put it that way. And I mean, honestly, after like probably 5 years, it really starts to take a toll on your body. But I did last 17 years. But honestly, there were several times where I just really wanted to quit. I'm like, I got to do something else, because I can only do this for so long. And I remember there was one of the incidents that connected the bridge was I got injured. So one year I was working in the spa, and what had happened? I slipped in the wet room and fell really hard and hit on my elbow. That was no fun, because my elbows were my tools. I used my elbows to do massage. That's how I was able to get in deep and to the muscles. And so I slipped and hit my elbow, and I was like, I'm done. I'm out. At least temporarily. So, the thing with massage is you're not getting any income unless you're working, which was difficult. So even though I, I had injured myself pretty badly, basically I got like a bursa in my elbow, which is just like an inflamed sac in your elbow. It was painful, very painful. But wasn't able to take off work like some people can take off work. You know, you get injured, you probably get like maybe, I don't know, a month or two off. I couldn't do that because, you know, I had to pay my bills. So I, you know, I worked through the pain without letting my clients know. So they weren't aware. Um, the extreme pain that I was in doing the massage. And then I had to go to physical therapy because they were like, there's nothing we can do and except, you know, work it, you know, try and massage it and you get physical therapy until it just gets better. It was really just a time thing. So I had to work through it. And at that time, you know, in my life, I just, I just really, I was like, you know, what am I going to do? But the thing is I didn't really have any other skills that I had done recently. I think way back in, you know, right after college, I was an executive assistant, but I hadn't done that for years. And so I really didn't have anything to fall back on unless I wanted to go back into waitressing, which I didn't. Because once again, that's another physical job. You're working late hours, sometimes like dinner rush and things like that. And honestly, going back to waitressing, it's such a thankless job. I mean, talk about you're literally waiting on people hand and foot, and they just they act like you owe it to them, and you know, don't always want to tip because they think, oh, it's like a handout, but not realizing that servers in this country make minimum wage, which is not a living wage. And even back then minimum wage I think was like, I want to say it was less than $10 an hour. I mean, you just cannot, it's not a livable wage. You live off of your tips. So for people out there if you go out to eat, somebody's waiting on you hand and foot, you should be tipping them. You should be tipping them at least 15 to 20%. Boom. Just that right off the bat. So I did not want to go back to waitressing. It just was, I mean, talk about a thankless job. I mean, some people really make a go of it and it's fun and, you know, and you can have fun times, but you always get those customers who are just jerks. So anyway, massage was different. Massage, pretty much every customer would come away thankful. So that was really one good thing that was keeping me going through the years of the pain and you know, and it wasn't always pain, but it is hard on the body. I just have to say, it's like basically like doing a workout for a living because you're constantly pushing and pulling and other people's dead weight bodies. I mean, it's a hard job. It was a hard job. So I didn't want to go back to waitressing. So I really stuck through with the massage, manifesting the whole time, you know, pursuing acting. But then there got to be a point where that was fulfilling. I hated auditioning, and auditioning just sucked. I mean, standing in front of a panel of people just staring at you, waiting for you to perform for them. It was the most nerve-wracking thing a person can ever do. And then standing in the line, waiting to get your turn. That was even almost sometimes more nerve-wracking than being in the room, because then you're seeing other people, you know, practice and you're constantly comparing yourself. So eventually acting gave way to writing, which is something I've mentioned on my channel, that I am a writer. And basically that was just an epiphany. Well, one of my friends had introduced me to paranormal romance books, and I always loved, I didn't read so much, I'd read a little romance, but I really read like Stephen King was more my speed. I loved horror and those kind of mind game books that Stephen King writes. And but someone introduced me to paranormal romance, which is basically like werewolf and vampire stories mixed with romance. And I got hooked. And one day I was like, oh, I could see myself writing a paranormal romance. I love these books. And my friend was like, well, then you should do it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And she went out and bought me 4 notepads, and I got to pen and paper and sat down and wrote my first novel. And it took forever to write it. Not really. It took me probably, I don't know, maybe I think it took me like a year and a half to write the first draft. And I just loved it. I loved being in that fantasy world because it took me out of the real world, right? Because my 3D was not showing, what I wanted. But honestly, at the time, I didn't really know what I wanted. I didn't know about like deliberately manifesting. I didn't know about that. I had my awakening moment years before, but I didn't know how to use it. I was like, what does that mean? Okay, I'm awakened. I get it. There's more to life than just the day to day. And there's a way to go about life thinking in a conscious, hyper conscious matter, like thinking in terms spiritually. But I didn't know what to do with it. And so I wrote my books and proceeded to continue doing massage. Massage was just always in the background, but it was the day to day. And so it was always there, hovering, doing massage. And I had some really highs in massage when I ended up massaging some celebrities and getting some really high paying clients, and also working for a ballet company. I did work for Alvin Ailey, which was incredible. I had some really amazing moments and really amazing highs doing massage, and it was very fulfilling in that way. But the physical part of it was always kind of in the background going, you can't do this forever. And so I started writing books, romance books, and that was fun. And I still love to do it. But, I ended up publishing, I think I've published now maybe 10 books. So that's an achievement, honestly. But it never took off like I thought it would. But like I said, I wasn't aware of how to deliberately manifest. Like, I don't think I really understood how to look at my book career and make it what I had hoped it would be. But honestly, if I'm being real, I did have high hopes for my book sales at that time. I was conscious of, okay, I need to feel like I could be this author. And honestly, I think emotionally, I was still in the mindset of having to work hard in order to make money. And if you're not working hard, you can't make any money. But the problem with that is you can't work hard enough to make yourself a millionaire. I don't think you can. Or if you do have that mindset, I don't think it's going to last. Or you'll get it, but it won't be fulfilling because you're working so hard at it. Because true fulfillment comes from being able to enjoy life. And if you're constantly working and you're not taking the time to enjoy it, then that mindset is not serving you. I just don't think it's going to serve you. And it didn't serve me. I was working my ass off, my fingers to the bone. And I was able to sustain a life in LA. But by this time, I had broken up with my boyfriend. He was gone. And I was just doing it on my own, living in a studio apartment. I was able to maintain that. But I started to think, I couldn't really go on vacations, trips. It was like I wasn't taking lots of time off. The only time I took off really was to come home and visit mom and my sister for the holidays. And that would probably be my biggest vacation. And it was only maybe a week, I think. And it was stressful because, I mean, going home to visit family is not really a vacation. It just isn't. Vacation is like going to Cabo and going to Hawaii and sitting on a beach, reading a book, laying in the sun. You know what I mean? Putting your toes in the sand, eating as much food as you want. That's a freaking vacation. So I hadn't had one of those at that time in years. And honestly, I still haven't. One of these days, I'm going to take a vacation. I'm already on the vacation. I gotta visualize that. I gotta make a point to visualize that in my life. But at that time, it was just all taking a toll, just work, work, work. And, even writing, I loved the writing. It didn't feel like work. It felt amazing. And I still love it. But at that time, that just really added, it was the other part of the writing that added to it, like the marketing and things like that. But at least I found something that I loved to do that didn't break my body to do it. So then that's really when things started to shift. And I'm like, okay, and now I want to be a writer. And how do I do that? And so the thing is I was a writer. I was doing it. I was doing my own marketing, started selling my own books after trying to go traditional publishing. And it hadn't taken over. And I don't know if I just hadn't quite, and probably if I'm being truthful, I hadn't quite visualized my book career, or at least not to the point where it took over for the massage. Then here we were, and I'd had some breaks, so I had the one issue when I hurt my elbow. Then I went out for surgery. That definitely put me out of work for like a couple weeks. So that was a break. And then there was one time, another incident in that whole bridge of incidents was when one of the spas I was working at closed down. And so I was able to take all my clients from that place and do work privately, which means you're not working quite as often. So I did that, and I worked privately, and it was, that was good too. And what was great about it was that I was able to write more books and really focus on just doing books and then doing a little bit of massage here and there. And I had a couple of regulars, which made it great. And that was fun. But then eventually that ran out, and I had to go back to massaging more full time. And so the final incident in that bridge came in 2020 when the pandemic hit. And by this time, I mean, I had been working for 17 years straight, and yeah, pretty much. And I was just, it was crazy. At that point, I was really kind of screaming energetically, like, Hail Mary, get me out of this. And then all of a sudden the pandemic hit. Boom. And that was it. I mean, we were shut down in LA. I remember I believe it was the 15th of March, and that was it. And I think that week or the next week, I did like a couple more massages, like in-house, before we really knew what was going on. And then that was it. And I was done. And I honestly drew a line in the sand at that point. And I said, I am not touching another body. And I haven't. That was it. And life has changed. And that's really when my life started to take shape in terms of what I was going to do in my life to earn a living, but also find fulfillment. And so that's what the bridge of incidents looks like. It's a bunch of incidents, things that happen that lead you to boom, a final huge manifestation, which at that time was just, it was definitely like not massaging. But then I needed to work on what I was going to do next. So stay tuned. The next video is going to be about a miracle that happened.